Thank you, President. Dear Council Presidency, lieber Kommissar Hahn, for the third year in a row now, I was locked away on a rainy November weekend with my colleagues and with the national diplomats to barter over the annual budget while surviving on very bad sandwiches and bad coffee. For the third year in a row, I have left these negotiations with a curious realization. Some EU capitals fundamentally reduce these negotiations to how much they have to pay and seem to very often disregard what they actually get for it, their return on investment. In light of this, it may be worth going back to why we actually have a European Union budget. We have it because some time ago, presidents and prime ministers made a confession, collectively, rationally, and out of political self-interest. They made the confession that in the past, conflicting national interests have led us to radicalization and ultimately war. They made the confession that every nation, however grand and historically powerful, is too small to tackle the issues of our time alone. And I would say they made the confession that all our individual nations lost parts of their sovereignty exactly because alone they cannot safeguard or represent their citizens' rights when it comes to climate change, healthcare, rising energy prices, leadership in research, global trade, national security, and so many other fields which we see represented in our budget. This is why we have a common European budget. And this is why we have a common European institution that helps us thrive and regain some of the sovereignty that our individual nation states have lost. But let's get back to the content of next year's budget. From Parliament's side, the final outcome, as Carlo has said, is a success. We have barely ever seen such a focused budget underlining our priorities, be it in the fight against climate change, in our solidarity via vaccination campaigns, and in supporting our research excellence, just to name a couple of examples. So a big congrats to Carlo and all his colleagues and shadow rapporteurs for the great work. On my side of the table, when it comes to strengthening the institutions of the European Union, I believe we have also achieved quite a lot. First of all, this is true for the European Court of Justice. Justice is always on the side of the weak and the persecuted. Strengthening the court with additional staff and funds therefore means safeguarding the weakest in our societies against those abusing positions of power, and that is always worth it. And second, we were able to reinforce the Court of Auditors to scrutinize the correct spending of the billions flowing by the European Recovery Instrument. A common responsibility requires hard checks and balances, and the court is crucial in this regard. Third, I'm also very happy that we were able to reinforce the capacities of Parliament, of this House. After years of increased workload, we have finally managed to strengthen our core legislative capacities, which will improve the quality of legislation for all European citizens. Let me close by thanking the Council Presidency for their fair negotiations, and the Commissioner for very creative solutions, Carlo for the great collaboration, Johan for the calm advice, and my shadows for the continuous support throughout the negotiations, but also to my team, Caroline, Zita, and Johannes, for their hard work over the last year. Thank you very much.